Bed Bath & Beyond had quite the earnings day on Wednesday. The company missed slightly on analyst earnings estimates, beat on sales, and lifted its full-year operating profit guidance. Bed Bath called out strength in important categories such as bedding and food prep and good early interest in its lucrative new private label brands for voicing that upbeat outlook. At one point, the stock was up more than 30% as meme traders cheered on their new bestie, Bed Bath & Beyond. Shares finished Wednesday's session up about 11%. Let's bring in Bed Bath & Beyond's President and CEO, Mark Tritton, for more. Mark, good to see you again. This segment might be hard to top. Last time we talked to you, the stock went up about 10% in 5 seconds as you were speaking. But nonetheless, for those new investors getting familiar with you and your leadership at the company, what inning do you think you are in the turnaround of Bed Bath?
Yeah, I think we're in the initial stages of that turnaround. We've talked about a 3-year plan back in October 2020, where we're talking about a stretch, a growth plan that will return us to being an authority in the home space, baby, health and wellness. Q1 was our first quarter stepping on that platform of that 3-year plan. So we're really confident that we're seeing great green shoots. But again, we're going to watch that carefully and progress sequentially, quarter by quarter, year by year, against those 3-year plans.
You mentioned in the release yesterday that you are regaining market share. In what categories do you think you're regaining market share, and where do you think that market share is coming from?
Yeah, so what we saw last year is it's clearly we were hit by the COVID moment with the closure of our stores, which are a key part of our omni-channel environment. We then ceded share during that quarter to a number of competitors who were open as an essential retailer. So it was critical for us to bounce back when we come into this quarter. We've seen that very, very strong. Now, we're not at 2019 share levels, nor do we intend to be, because we have less stores in our fleet. We're leaner, we're meaner, we're keener. But what we see is that we're regaining share in bed, bath, kitchen, storage and org. And again, we're rebounding stronger than a number of our competitors who are closed at the same time. So I think customers are voting, both existing and new, for Bed Bath & Beyond. We really want to capitalize on that throughout 2021.
Mark, you guys talked a little bit about the return to college as the beginning of, I think you used the word pivot towards a new normal. Let's maybe break that down. Let's just talk what about your expectations are for the college shopping season, which is really the first the company's going to have in a couple of years, and the first since you went through that major remodel of almost all your stores.
Yeah, Myles, I mean, what we saw last year is we really doubled down and made back to college a pivot for the new Bed Bath & Beyond in terms of our strategic intent. So better value, better signage, better outreach, social media, full engagement. We were up 23% last year on a non-back to college period. And what we see this year is both freshman and sophomore years heading to college for the first time. And I think there's a lot of pent-up demand to express yourself and have that moving moment, that traditional moment where multi-generational families come together, mom and dad and the college student go to the Bed Bath & Beyond, select what's right for the dorm, get things packed and held and sent and get ready for their new college dorm space. We see good demand that's being pent up there. And I think that these normalization trends, whether they're back to college, whether they're weddings, whether they're a return to, a growth in birth rate, hopefully, what we're seeing is these are starting to take forward. And I think that the back to college moment will be a great pivot moment for those to occur, but also for customers to come into our store and online and continue to see the new assortment, the new value strategy, the new environments, and the new Bed Bath & Beyond.
And staying on the stores as well, you guys mentioned on the call that later this summer you expect to reopen a major flagship store in New York City that'll be, a reimagined location. And how have you guys found being able to staff the stores at the level that you want with this kind of traffic coming back? We continue to hear stories about, labor shortages. What have your, team leaders, your store managers been able to do on that front to get the help they need?
Yeah, firstly, the New York Flagship store is something we've been working passionately on for over a year. And at the end of July, we open with the grand opening back in Chelsea. That store has been completely reimagined. And we've moved from a very kind of warehouse feel to a residential feel, really showcasing our assortment and our services. So really proud of what we're doing there. It's coming together day by day and excited to launch. So more to follow on that and a celebration. I think in terms of the labour piece, we're keeping a very close eye on it. We're looking at all the reports on the labour squeeze, and it's definitely a different market. What we're seeing at the moment, Myles, is that we're seeing a turn in our overall headcount. So out in stores, a little bit more turnover at the associate level, but our fulfillment rate is bang on. So we're not seeing a deficit at this point. And it's not like New York is really incredible in that we're open for business, we're ready to go, and it's an incredibly new environment. We're bringing in some of our strongest associates and leaders into that store to bring that experience of Bath & Beyond and then backfill in other areas. So we feel really good at the moment about the status of our employment and the rates. We'll continue to watch that as we go through the second half.
Mark, we've talked about this the past few times we've talked. Bed Bath has been swept into this retail stock movement here. As a CEO, are you now thinking about how you may communicate differently with retail investors? Look, we have AMC's CEO. He's out there doing YouTube videos, and he's on Twitter. Do you think about the retail community, and how do you think you're going to communicate with them moving forward?
For us, we're a momentum stock, not a meme stock. And I think for us, communicating in the way that we have been about the sequential improvements and outlining our transformation and the very purposeful steps to execute against that are consistent. But that remains unchanged. The majority of our shareholders are institutional investors and investors who have been with us and are watching this story. And the new investors that are coming in, I think what's been really interesting is we're seeing some kind of daily fluctuations, but I think when everyone unpacks the fundamentals and gets in, they see what this story is really about. So it's actually been a slight positive in that it's redirected people back to the story. When they look at those fundamentals, and we are a fundamental company going through transformation, people like what they see, and Q1 is further evidence of that performance. So steady as she goes and consistent with the communication that we've had in the past.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you down at the New York City reopening. I know it's coming up soon.
Yeah.
We'll leave it there. Bed Bath & Beyond's President and CEO Mark Tritton, always good to see you. Have a good July 4th weekend.